Two local art organizations aim to foster creativity, community, and inclusivity within Nacogdoches. We'll learn all about them right here on today's SFA All Access. Welcome everyone to SFA All Access. I'm Natalie Cripple, and with us today is Bridget Kozash. Bridget is an SFA graduate, a founding member of Firehouse Art Collective, and a board member of the Nacogdoches Arts Collaborative. We've brought her onto the show today to learn more about what her organizations do and what she has achieved as a member. Hi Bridget, how are you today?
I'm hanging out. How are you?
I'm good.
Cool.
All right, so let's get into these questions. So what do you do for art?
I'm a stained glass artist, so I also do printmaking, so carving rubber and stamping it with ink and onto paper or fabric. But mostly I do focus in the stained glass craft, so I'm full-time at it. So I go to a lot of art fairs, and I have a website that I sell art onto.
That's really interesting. And what got you into making stained glass?
Yeah, so really my neighbor gave me this box of glass supplies, and I was like, well, I've been wanting to do this, and my friend Britt was like, you'd be really good at it. So I tried it, and it's just really fun, and I really did find my niche in it. So that's kind of how I started, with some friends helping me out there.
And it's kind of do what you love and go from there?
Yeah, for sure.
So you get your glass from other places, you don't make it yourself?
I don't make it. I wish I could. If I had a kiln, I could, but I get it from Hobby Lobby, but I also go to a lot of out-of-town glass stores. So there's one in Spring called Cousins that I go to. It's great. Yeah.
And what are your positions at Firehouse?
I'm a resident artist there with 3 other folks. So, yep.
And what do you do in your position at Firehouse?
I just make art, and then pay rent, and then also host events. We do a lot of art fairs. We try to do some workshops. So we've done some zine making workshops. And then we like to host some music events. So like jam sessions and open mics, stuff like that.
Yeah. And so you said you pay rent. Do you live at the Firehouse?
I don't live at the Firehouse.
Okay.
It's a commercial space. So I just pay my quarter of rent and rent
so you
booth
rent
space there.
Booth.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand. And so you said you had a shop online. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, no doubt. I have a website called cheekchewer.com, and it's where I put all of my art and everything from like commissions that people buy to just like pieces that are original art that I sell. But yeah, you can visit it if you'd like. It's
so
cool.
Everything you sell can be found on there?
Yeah, everything that I sell can be found on there. I sometimes sell directly through my Instagram to avoid seller fees, but sometimes it's just easier to have like a whole website you can like kind of browse through.
Okay, and could you walk me through the process of making a stained glass piece?
Yeah. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw up your design, or if you have Procreate on your iPad, you can use that. I hand draw everything. And then I cut out the glass with my stencil, and then I grind it all. Then I put copper foil on the edges of it, which is what makes the solder stick. I brush it in flux, and then I solder on top of that. And then all that's after that is just cleaning, polishing, patinaing. That's it.
Yeah.
Then it's ready.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And so you said, okay, so you sell art online. Do you do any commissions?
I do. I do private commissions all the time. I actually really enjoy doing them because it's really interesting to see what people want from me. I'm currently in the middle of a piece that is like a Danny DeVito style piece, so that's kind of cool.
That's fun.
But yeah.
What's the most interesting commission you ever gotten?
The most interesting, probably this 3-foot cross I just made. I'm not a religious person, but the glass was given to me from the person that commissioned me, right? From his mom. It was for his mom. So I got to use all of her glass. That's what makes it interesting, right? Because using all of her glass when she was a stained glass maker and putting it into this beautiful piece that she's wanted to make, she's been ready to make. That's what made it so cool. So.
That's very interesting. It's nice to like hear the backstories of like pieces of art and how they got made.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And if you could learn another art form besides stained glass and printmaking, what would it be?
Oh man, I really want to audit a class here in jewelry making, like metalsmithing, with like Stina Herrera or Lauren Selden. They have produced some amazing students that live all over the country. I mean, they made my engagement ring. Like one of her students made my engagement ring, and then my fiance's engagement ring too. I'd love to just do that. It doesn't seem like very different from stained glass in that you use metals and flux, but it is different. So I'd love to learn. Yeah.
So different styles of art, but using the same properties and
Yeah.
techniques. That's very interesting. And so I've seen like things online about jewelry making, and I always find it like so interesting. So like I've heard things about like silver clay and stuff like that, which is always cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I love TikTok for that reason, right? Because you can just go on there and like basically see the basics of what you're trying to do, and it makes it seem kind of accessible. And I think that's what's so important about art and to Firehouse is that we need to make art seem accessible and inclusive. So everyone, you know, some people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, I don't even know like how to do that. I could never do that." I'm like, "It's actually like really easy. I learned from YouTube." So you got it. Yeah.
You just have to look it up and make
It's a little bit of an investment,
Yeah.
but I mean, if you take your tax return, you could probably do it like $200. You can get into stained glass, no doubt.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was
It's
could
pretty
just
easy to
be
enter
accessible.
in. Yeah.
Because I always hear glass and I'm like, ooh.
I mean, continuing on is pretty expensive, but if you want to make like one piece or a few pieces, that's pretty much all it would cost. And then you just buy consumables after that. And consumables are relatively affordable, except solder. Solder's a little expensive.
That's really cool. So thank you for telling me about that.
Yeah.
And it's time for us to take a short break. When we come back, we'll learn more about Bridget's organizations, their past achievements, and their plans for future events. Stay tuned. Welcome back to SFA All Access. I'm Natalie Cripple, still here with Bridget Kozash. All right, Bridget. So, what are the organizations you're a part of?
Yeah, so I'm in the Firehouse Art Collective, right? And then I'm also in the Nacogdoches Arts Collaborative, two separate organizations. Yeah.
Okay. And what do those organizations do for the community?
Right. So Firehouse NAC, I talked about a little earlier. It's about really just being inclusive to the community, hosting workshops and music events and art events that kind of invite people in to let them know that they're valued to create art. It's something that everyone should try and do. And then offering like pretty affordable studio space to kind of an easier endpoint to have space to work, right? So because sometimes you think of studio space and you're like, oh, I'm about to put down like $400 for this room. Well, it's pretty accessible, I think. It's like $115.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
more accessible than 400.
Yeah, and then the other group that I'm in is called the Nacogdoches Arts Collaborative, and we do a lot of diverse kind of community work. We try to work with every single age demographic. So we're trying to work with children up to the elderly. So that just kind of manifests as outreach. So it looks kind of like, you know, we do a lot of, at art fairs, we'll do a lot of like drawing and stuff for children. And then we just did Lavender Prom for LGBTQ plus youth to come and feel a safe space while they can celebrate prom with their friends. And then we're starting to do some outreach in retirement homes for the elderly to do some painting classes. We do a lot of adult focused stuff though too. So that kind of manifests as art fairs and just different like collaborative, you know, events where we can make art together, workshops.
And what inspired you to join these organizations?
So I'll start with NAC. I was asked to join NAC as a board member. I was asked because at the time I was a poet and they needed someone, I am still a poet, but at the time they needed someone that had like a writing focus. So that's kind of why I joined NAC. And also because I love to make sure people, like, again, the word inclusivity is like very important to me. I want people to know that they can be involved. So I wanted to be a person in that group that could make people aware of that, right? With Firehouse, I've been wanting to do Firehouse with my friend Brittany Holden it's probably been, counting the time we've been in there now, it's been about 4 or 5 years that we've been wanting to do a studio space. It's just about finding a cheap place to rent with a good landlord that's understanding of what it means to be an art studio. And that, again, that's just to provide accessible space for those to make art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And so going back to the events and organizations that you put on, what is one of the more interesting art fairs or something that you've attended?
Yes. Okay. Well, there is a reoccurring music show that my friend Brittany and I do every year. I say every year. We did it last year. We're doing it again this year because it was so fun last year. It's called Knack Noise. We did it last year at Macklemore's, the night of the Blueberry Festival, which is June 11th this year, which we're going to do it again, but it's going to be at Headliners. And so that's a great show to go to see kind of what Knack has to offer musically. It's a very diverse music genre. Um, and also we'll have vendors and stuff too, so you get to see the art community sell their work, and you can support local. So
That's really cool. And are there any other events coming up?
I plan on doing another art fair at the Firehouse itself this year. I've considered doing some stained glass classes, but I'm not sure if I'll do that this summer or next fall. Um, I think that's it. Oh, Junior Jacks. So Junior Jacks is a event that my friend Cece puts on, who's in the Nacogdoches Arts Collaborative. That's at SFA for youth to go and do theater camp. It's really cool. If you check out our Facebook, you can definitely go see that and join if you're a child. It's SFA related, but it's also NAC sponsored.
So getting the community to come out and engage in art.
Yeah.
And do you think that helps people engage in art?
Oh, no doubt. I think it's a great outlet, especially for folks that are struggling with a lot of mental health issues, like myself. It's important to have an outlet that we can express our creativity that's helpful, not detrimental, not hurtful, harmful to our bodies. So yeah, absolutely.
Building you up instead of breaking
Yeah,
down.
being proud of yourself, being proud of something you've made.
Yeah, just truly being yourself. And that's really beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah, always love to see like events going on that build in the community and really bring people together.
Yeah, it's nice.
And so, is there anything else that Firehouse does for the community or the NAG Art Collective?
So I guess right now Firehouse really just wants folks to come in and join us. We have 4 spaces available. And really it's not just about like paying rent. I mean, of course, I'm not going to pretend it's not about that, but it's also about, having such a diverse group of artists that make all different mediums, that when people come by and they're needing a commission or something, we can be like, oh, well, go to our photographer. Oh, go to our graphic designer. Or you can make a frame for your painting by this person, this woodworker.
Yeah. And if our viewers would like to get in touch with any of the artists, where would they go?
Firehouse Knack on Facebook, firehouse.knack on Instagram, and the Nacogdoches Arts Collaborative on Facebook. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I'd love to get in contact with artists. And thank you for being here with us today.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And thank you for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed your time here, and we'll hope you'll come back for more very soon. From all of us here at SFA All Access, I'm Natalie Cripple. Have a great day, everyone.